Kristi Noem, Homeland Security Secretary. Here she is, which is a weird picture of her, and they're seeking $2 trillion of savings by making the government more efficient. Did you catch this headline? This is an amazing, amazing week for beautiful governors. Let me show you what I mean.
It used to be college days, like, I always had a friend with a pickup truck, so they're like, when you want to move apartments, you can just be like, hey, can you guys come help me? I'll like buy a 6-pack of beer. If one of my friends called me and was like, hey, I've got a 6-pack of beer, will you help me move for the entire day, like lug heavy shit around? I'd be like, fuck off, you know?
Right, you have a job. Pay dudes to
like,
move this thing.
it's like $300 to get guys to do this.
And they are college guys, and they will do it for beer and pizza.
Right.
I'm over a year on terzepatide, so that was September 29th of 2023. I weighed 212 pounds and had a 44-inch waist.
And you remember it like it was yesterday.
I do. I remember every
pound you've lost.
Yeah.
Every single one.
That's right.
Like,
right. And then on October 2nd, I was 209 pounds and had a 43-inch waist. And then, let me think, October 16th, I was 207 pounds. I cannot break below 170 permanently. I bobbed down to 169 and even in the 168, but I've been at 170-ish for all of October and now deep into November.
Well, I mean, how skinny do you want to be?
Well, I think if you put me in on the BMI chart, it would still say I'm overweight, believe it or not. I mean...
Really?
I always hear that objection of like, well, bodybuilders are high on the BMI charts. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not the problem around here, guys. Like, okay, that's a problem for this much of the population.
Yes, BMI is like generally bullshit. But also it's a very helpful kind of like barometer. I think that's my big criticism of it is that like someone like you, I think you would look probably too skinny if you lost another 10 pounds or something. And yet that would put you in the healthy range. Like, I don't think that you're overweight. I think that you're like not obese.
Well, I'd like to think they came up with these ranges based on some kind of differentiated health outcomes, not just like how you look, right? I mean, I have no idea how they created the BMI calculator, or who did it, or...
It originated from a 19th century Belgian mathematician, astronomer, and sociologist, Lambert Adolphe Jacques Quillet. He did statistics and the bell curves, blah, blah, blah. He collected data on men's height and weights, yada, yada, yada.
Well, why didn't you tell me in the first place it was an astronomer? Now I for sure.
I know.
And bell curves from the 16th century, by the way? Is that what you said?
19th.
All right, so based on the weight ranges of people in the 1800s, back in the era of Grover Cleveland and Oscar and Kermit.
Right. When there was no fast food and really no processed food.
No food that you didn't have to go like kill or pick yourself.
And everybody's like a farmer where you're working for like 12 hours a day. You're like doing hard labor constantly.
By the way, I understand and appreciate and can get behind people being fit. But what drives me batty are the people that are like, I am all about fitness. Fitness is what I do. It's my life. It's my hobby. It might even be my profession. That's all I want to do is be fit and help others be fit. I'm like, go the fuck away. Like, you're annoying the shit out of me. Find something to do. Go work at a gym
and like,
the personal trainers. I'm like, can't you think of something better to do? Like, I'm sure they think the same of me and my podcasting habits, but I don't know. Do you find yourself talking about the podcast at social events or... I do a little bit, or people drag me into it, but I'm not just like everywhere I go, podcast. I don't know. I don't think.
Yeah. No, I mean, it comes up pretty often. Like, I definitely refer back to like stuff that we've talked about and just the learning curve stuff, like I had no idea how much work went into like, whatever. So when I hear people say like, oh, everybody's got a podcast, I'm like, do they though?
When people comment on our shorts or whatever, and they're like, here's another reason not everybody should have a podcast, or these idiots shouldn't, whatever.
That's classic internet, like, oh, well, let me just be a troll, just make fun of everybody. Like, why?
Yeah.
Like, if you're gonna be insulting, then just tell my brother to fix his Dawson's Creek haircut.
Come up with good insults anyway, right?
Yeah, that are like, that, you know, it's like not an insult, but I don't know. I found it charming. But people saying like, this is why people shouldn't even do, like, fuck off. You don't have to listen to this. And I can't even believe you take the time to comment on it. To be like, this thing sucks. I'm going to go back to like jerking off or whatever, like, but this isn't any good. Good, whatever.
All right. Well, I think that's the perfect segue. Time to get the show started. Kalyn, cue the music. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the Robert and Kalyn Get Rich podcast. You can comment right now about how old, how terrible our haircuts are, how we're wasting our lives. We know these things already, but you might as well tell the universe if that is your contribution. As for us, our contribution to the universe is this silly-ass podcast that we decided to start, and it's our new hobby. It gives us something to talk about at cocktail parties, okay? But listen, why don't you go ahead and like and subscribe, forward to others, leave us a comment, or send us an email at robertandkaylyngetrich@gmail.com. Kalyn is spelled Kalyn. Let us know you listened to episode 30. We have made it through 30 episodes. Yay! The average podcast dies at 8. We are on 30. So for all you commentariat out there, go try to put together 30 decent podcasts yourselves. You'll find it isn't so easy. This has turned into more of a rant than a welcome. But anyway, I'm Robert Kimmel. I'm one of the hosts. This is Kalyn Kimmel, another one of the hosts. Ranting is what we do. What we don't do is
give financial or investment advice.
That's exactly right. However, I will say this, Kalyn. Maybe we should be giving financial advice because let's take a look at the portfolio.
Oh, I can't wait.
Now, I will warn they've changed the format, so you're going to have to put your eyes to a different place than you normally do to see our results.
Okay, so Yahoo Finance is getting their shit together? Is that what?
I wouldn't say that necessarily, but... All right. Our portfolio is down today 2%, but look at this number, Kalyn, up 16.2%. So this helpful chart shows you our history. Here's the zero line. So this shows you just how much time we were under 0%.
Yeah, that is really helpful. Okay. Nice work, Yahoo. I like this.
Yeah, so far so good. Now this chart's a little harder to follow, but you can see Fannie Mae, man, 100% up. The other one that just killing it, 92% up, Reddit.
Yeah.
Right. But a bunch of them are great calls. True is great. ATAI. Chewy, awesome. 58%. Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers signed a deal with the NBA. So they're back to life.
Speaking of, I just watched the Tyson fight on Friday night on Netflix. I've never, ever in my life watched a boxing match.
Yeah.
But I seen Mike Tyson on podcasts and stuff, and I don't know why, but I, really like the stuff that he says. I know that he's kind of said his ups and downs over the years, but anyways, I've become a big, Tyson fan, and so, I literally watched it live. I didn't even know that Netflix did that. I was like, I wonder how my Netflix stock is doing now that we've got live sports and blah, blah, blah.
That was the first boxing match Netflix has ever put on. And what's crazy about this fight is, this is what they pick, is this cartoon of a match of a fighter who's 58 years old going against this young guy. Of course, all the hardcore boxing fans are pulling their hair out that this is what the population, this is what people want to watch, are these terrible, terrible fights. My analogy is, it's like as if you're a hardcore basketball fan and all that society wants to watch is the celebrity match from the All-Star break. They want to see Jimmy Kimmel and Shaquille O'Neal from 20 years ago play basketball. And you're like, come on, this is terrible, terrible basketball. It's one sport. I mean, there's a certain admiration I have for these guys. It's a certain to watch a sport that I couldn't last 30 seconds in. I mean, you put me in a ring with Mike Tyson yesterday, 25 years ago.
How much can you run away? Just actively run away.
I'd be like the gladiator in Life of Brian, the guy who just just runs away until the gladiator has a heart attack and dies. That's my That's my only winning strategy. I can't. Yeah. And I can't run that far that fast. So this guy could probably outrun me and then hit me a bunch of times and beat me into submission. Then I just lay on the mat. And go
You're just like,
I'm gonna lay here for 10 seconds. Forget it.
Yeah. I'm knocked out. Yeah, they're all so quick too. Like all the dodging and stuff, and yeah, I don't.
I mean, it's another. I mean, like any activity, when these guys at the peak of their game are they're incredible. You know, they're so far up the bell curve from where even an average athlete, you know. Anyway.
Yeah.
So do you want to see? You want to see what the?
Yeah, how we're doing compared to the market? We were up like 10%, 9 point something, I think, percent overall.
We were up 16% overall. The market is up 8%.
Oh,
apples to apples. So
man,
yeah. So we have doubled up on the market. Now some of that is like those Denison mine options, right? We're gonna give a bunch of that back, and like Fannie Mae is gonna be so variable, but I mean, I think in the long run, we've got a shot. I mean, our bets are just going to be swingier and wilder than the S&P.
That's what I like, you know, keeping it fun. And how are we doing compared to our friends?
Oh, well, I'm glad you asked, Kalyn. S&P's +8. Friends, -5. So,
ooh,
which is kind of coming along a little bit because they were in bad shape. I mean, Starbucks is up for them. Yeah.
Wow.
We need more friends to make more picks. I think that will help their portfolio quite a bit.
I think so too. Do you remember the date of our first podcast? I'm trying to think of how long we've been at this.
I can find that fairly quickly. Talk amongst yourselves. May 8th was the first publication of one of our podcasts. So I imagine we recorded it earlier that week. May 8th, 2024. Okay. So we are 6 months and 12 days into our podcasting experience.
Did you just do that math in your head? Are you like one of those people that are like, what day of the week is March 30th of 2065?
No, what I did was May is the 5th month, November is the 11th month, so that's 6 months. That was May 8th, today's the 20th, so that's 12 days. I might not be exactly right. It might be 6 months and 13 days or 6 months and 9 days, but... I like to keep it simple, stupid. But yeah, we've lasted 6 months and 30 episodes. And I forget exactly what our goal was, how many to get done by the end of the year, but
I was going to ask that too. So I think it was 33 or something, right?
All right, we're going to have to look it up, obviously. Our goal was 15 more podcasts by the end of the year for a total of 33. So we are 3 away. There. Yes, with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks left. So we would have to do it half the remaining weeks. But
I mean, I will be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yay! Yeah. So we're going to do one before we go to Cleveland go to Boston.
Yep. Yeah, we'll want to do it on the early side, like probably even over the weekend to give us time to, because we're not going to want to edit it in Boston and all that happy stuff. So anyway, and Andrea's gone, so she can only give us so hard a time about recording. How long it's taken us. How long are you going to be up there?
As long as it takes to find something funny. Yeah.
Did you catch this headline? This is an amazing, amazing week for beautiful governors. Let me show you what I mean. Trump picks Burgum for Interior Secretary. Here he is.
I saw. I can't remember what I was watching, but they were referencing some other show that had a chart with who they were speculating might get different positions.
Yeah.
And I like pause the show and I zoom in so I could be like, oh, please be on there, Doug Burgum. And I was like, Doug Burgum! So that's been on my list.
Yeah, he was on a chart. He was like one of those little pictures on a chart. And I was like, wait a minute. Does that say Doug Burgum, Interior Secretary?
Yeah, so yay, Doug Burgum.
But it doesn't end there. Hang on, it doesn't end there.
And we got Pantene Model 2.
Kristi Noem, Homeland Security Secretary. Here she is, which is a weird picture of her, but...
It is a weird picture of her.
You know, it gives you a good sense of those pouty lips she's got, and both
and pretty hair.
Yeah, she has very pretty hair. But one issue that I don't know that they thought about is now both Dakotas are rudderless without their governors. You know, and it doesn't stop there. We never talked about these people, but I mean, he's putting together a pretty good-looking cabinet, I have to say, which I know you said is one of the most important things in politics. But Tulsi Gabbard is now been nominated National Intelligence Director. She's a good-looking woman. Again, this isn't necessarily the best picture of her. You know, here she is. See that picture? Now, her skin isn't so great.
Oh, yeah. Well, that first picture, she looks nice. Well, I mean, Yeah.
All right, one more. The Senate picked a majority leader, and I only add him because I heard on a show that he is very attractive for his age. So 2 men, 2 women, equal opportunity here. The new Senate majority leader is John Thune, this guy. I mean, on this show, they were like, damn, he's a good-looking man for... I don't know what you're...
Like some, yeah.
You're clearly not blown away, but he's not... I mean, he's not Burgum attractive, let's be honest. But,
no, he's not Doug Burgum level, no. But he's a good enough looking guy. I was wondering if, like, could Trump have Elon Musk somehow on... obviously, Elon Musk can't be president, thank God, but, like, because he's South African. Like, is that allowed?
Well, here, okay, so you're a little out of touch here because the plan is that Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are going to start the Department of Government Efficiency, and they're seeking $2 trillion of savings by making the government more efficient, which there's a couple crazy things about this. First, that it's these 2 guys, right?
Yeah.
Second, Department of Government Efficiency. Figure out the acronym for that one. Department of Government Efficiency.
The Doge.
Doge. So Elon Musk has named this after his goddamn...
Of course he has.
Coin.
Oh my God.
And then finally, you could lay off every employee of the federal government and not make $2 trillion worth of savings. Like, most of the dollars that the government spends is in entitlements. It's Social Security payments, Medicare, and Medicaid. And then the military, which they've said they were not going to touch the military. Right. Speaking of Doge, have you looked at your Dogecoin? Because Doge went to the moon. I mean, it like doubled on the day of the election.
Oh, man.
So,
let's see. Let me look at it right now. Oh, I'm in the green on Dogecoin.
I would hope so. If you weren't in the green, you were hurting bad.
I mean, no, I'm now up 66%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're rich, Kalyn.
Luckily, I did not invest that much in Dogecoin, so yeah. I'm not gonna lose a ton of bucks. I mean, sorry.
Well, you can't lose any more money than I've lost on Spirit Airlines, so that was a real lesson. So my big thing I learned, because you remember we're like, these guys are selling for less than the value of their assets. So what I learned from this experience is, it turns out you can sell your assets and then you can waste all that money too. And then you can go into bankruptcy. And your shareholders can still end up sucking wind. But
we can all get fucked. Weren't they announcing that they were building a new corporate headquarters or something? Like,
yes, and this is what pisses me off. Right now, their company is worth, here it is, $118 million, right? Which is like, like Elon Musk could find that in his couch cushions to buy Spirit Airlines.
Right.
And then they built this fucking headquarters for $40 million. So it's now half the value of the company is this damn building, you know? The CEO who was going to sell the company to JetBlue, once that fell through, he retired, resigned, something, and they handed it off to the director of human resources or some shit. Of course they give it to a woman, right? So just like Kamala Harris takes the bag of this, losing effort, Spirit Airlines hands the CEO-ship to a woman. All right, this is your chance. Go show female kind.
We're not meant for leadership roles, clearly. That's the takeaway, like otherwise we would have righted the ship with Spirit Airlines and won the election with only 3 months of campaigning.
If your ship is going downhill, what you want to find is a woman or a minority, or ideally a woman who's a minority.
Oh, man.
To take it on and take the fall for this thing.
My last job, when we were basically like laying people off in America to hire them in Taiwan and stuff. The more we cut, this translated into like a hiring freeze, and then the executives getting bigger bonuses because they were able to make all this savings happen. Yeah. It seems super unfair. Yeah. And like,
I promise you the executives at Spirit did fine and throughout this whole thing.
Right.
Like that ex-CEO who couldn't pull off the sale. Right. Even this new CEO, she probably didn't get anywhere near the bonuses that guy got, but she's not going to worry about her retirement too much.
Right. Right. Like it just, so, I don't know. So super annoys me, that whole thing. Whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't feel fair. Well, I will say, hey, when Bear Stearns failed, like some of the key guys went from billionaires to like having sub $20 million. So they're obviously still not hurting, but can you imagine your net worth declining by 99%, whatever that number is? If you're used to the billionaire lifestyle, like they have to sell properties and stuff they have to downsize. I mean,
sure, it is very difficult for me to feel too sorry for it. Oh, I was almost a trillionaire and now I'm just like a multi-billionaire. Like, it's like, okay, well, if we just like offed you and gave your money, we could like solve like hunger in the world. But whatever, I think specifically back to a time when like I was teed up for like a bonus that I absolutely deserved, and like this is when I was working at the advisory board, and our executive team had like decided to acquire this other company that was just a sinking ship and not in our wheelhouse. And so no one at all got bonuses or raises that year, and like I had never worked harder for it. I absolutely deserved it, whatever. And I generally do not deserve a bonus or a raise, probably. like as a rule, like, or even my salary when I get one. But so they gave both of the executives, who, the CFO and the CEO, like $1 million bonus each, because they'd successfully navigated like how to separate the companies. And I'm like, if you fuckers hadn't bought that other company, we would have been fine.
Yeah.
So you got us into this mess, and now we're giving you we're like, oh, good job, you got us out of the mess. It just like rubs me super the wrong way. So my bonus, which would have been like, I don't know, maybe $10,000 or something like that, like nothing.
But
like,
would have made a big difference.
They're
to
like,
you.
We can't do it. Meanwhile, those guys are like getting this huge check for. I mean,
well, bankruptcy is not all downside. I will say that. Friend of the show, Kelly Whitmore, sent us this that ties back to one of our prior episodes. Basically, Redbox in bankruptcy, and now you can go out and you can get a Redbox machine. They are as this guy did. As you can see, he's a bit of a junk guy, but it looks like.
No, what do you mean? He's a collector of wonderful things, including Redbox machines.
This looks like it's actually working. It must be like plugged in, and but
like. That's crazy.
Yeah. They were saying, you know what? They cost so much to remove, and your average Walgreens doesn't even want it. Like, you could probably go to your Walmart or Walgreens and ask if you can have it, and you can probably take it. And there's many things on like Reddit and stuff about like, you can go to the Redbox machine and just take the DVDs, if that's what you want.
Right.
So.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm not surprised. Why would they go and collect all the DVDs and stuff back? But I don't know. Next time I buy one, which will be today, I'm sure. I'm gonna see about this.
See if you can take it.
So I may be showing up, seeing it, not about getting the whole machine, but I'll see if I can get any DVDs for free. I may be showing up in Cleveland with gifts.
Here's like some crappy CDs that were hot in the Road to Perdition.
Yeah, the Road to Perdition DVD, and
the original Rocky.
Right. Exactly. Bridge over a River Kwai. The Muppets Take Manhattan. Fingers crossed.
They were saying that some of these red boxes are like built into the structural integrity of the building, the way some ATMs are, so you can't take those, and it also leads to a whole nother problem for some of these buildings.
It's like the building will collapse if we move the red box. So yeah, like
homeless people, you can sleep under this red box indefinitely.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, but like Redbox is out of business. They're not gonna like pay somebody to go pick up these red boxes. But
yeah,
I mean the scrap value's got to be something. So I would think the same picker who like drives my neighborhood on Monday nights looking for scrap, throwing away tables and chairs.
There used to be these homeless guys by my old place. They had the nicest setup I've ever seen of any homeless person. Like at one point they had a globe literally in their little area. They had like 2 lounge chairs. This is under a freeway. I was like, your place is maybe nicer than mine. And I was like, that's crazy. Like, I kind of love that though. Like, I hope you guys, make it nice there. I mean, whatever.
Globe. They really zhuzhed up the place. And they're like,
I mean, seriously, yeah. Like lazy boy chairs, 2 lazy boy chairs, a globe, and this is like just these 2 dudes that I see under the freeway. I'm like, I've never seen such a thing, but I super support it. Like, if you're gonna be homeless, live in style, do your best.
Well, the finery that you can find at a Goodwill, and the quality of stuff that like an Andrea is throwing out. Could really zhuzh up an underpass. I mean, it really could. We're talking about furniture. We just got a whole bunch of new furniture. And so trip to Home Goods with Ann, the decorator, fill up Ann's minivan with all the seats down.
Oh, yeah.
And then that's not enough. So we put the back seats of the Maserati down and we're hauling around TJ Maxx furniture in the Maserati.
Yeah.
Filling up the front seat with like lamps and stuff, So.
Yeah. Man, that one trip I took with Andrea she was like, I need floor lamps. I don't know which one's going to work, though. Let's just take all of these. And we got 7 lamps. I was like, oh, my gosh, Andrea, this is like, any of these will do. I don't know. It was just so funny. I mean, she took up I think she took almost all of them back.
Oh,
maybe kept 1 or 2.
Her Majesty is not afraid to stand in the return line.
Yeah, or be the crazy person who's buying 7 floor lamps at a single time. Like, I need every floor lamp you have in the store. Like,
listen, TJ Maxx, do not count your revenue as earned until it has not been returned when you sell Andrea a floor lamp.
Kidding.
Or anything
No
else.
kidding, yeah. Or anything, yeah.
I think this trip, there's no returns, though, so far, amazingly. We will be selling perfectly good furniture on Facebook Marketplace, however, so keep your eyes out for that.
Yeah.
I had one more thing I wanted to talk about, and that's, you sent me these pictures, and this one.
Oh.
This picture. When I got this one, I was like, oh, I actually see it. Because, I mean, the like, this area right here, right? Like that and that, they look the same.
You're like, that is Kalyn.
That must be. I think that's where some of this identification is like, they find the points.
Yeah, I mean, the eyes would make sense because your eyes don't change size from birth.
They don't?
Forward.
Oh.
Yeah.
What do you got there? A hymnal? You gonna sing a hymn?
No, this is like a super old school. This is the quintessential quiz book.
Ah.
So they have all kinds. I mean, this is very old, as you see. Like, what year is
First of all, it's in print, so.
This is copyright 1979. So there's things that may have changed. Certainly like there's geography, names on the map, whatever. Yeah, I thought maybe we could do a quiz. They're like 10 questions long.
All right, hit me with a quiz. Let's do this thing.
Let's see. I'll give you a couple of topics that you can choose from. Mm-hmm. Okay, we could do business and finance, exploration, food, or U.S. presidents.
Well, I think business and finance is the topic that fits best with this podcast, doesn't it? So
that's true.
Let's see how this goes.
Question 1. What common piece of furniture lends its name to a bank?
A bench? A chair? Chairman of the bank?
A bench. Where the earliest money changers conducted their business. An old Italian word for bench is banca, from which we get the modern word bank. When I first read that, I thought they were like saying like that this like Chase Bank. This is comes from a piece of furniture.
Chase Lounge
Chase comes from a piece.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
We should name all our banks after pieces of furniture. Where did you go to bank? Oh, well, I went to, roll top desk.
I went to the ottoman.
Yeah. The bureau.
The bookshelf.
Yeah.
Drawers.
You go to drawers bank? Oh, I go to, TV stand bank.
Yeah.
The secretariat.
Banquet. Right. Question 2. How did the Wall Street terms of bull for an optimistic buyer and bear for a pessimistic seller come into being?
I am just going to totally guess here. It was like a political cartoon in the New Yorker or something like that.
They say, from the fighting characteristics of these beasts, when a bull attacks, he lifts you up on his horns. When a bear attacks, he claws you down.
I'm dissatisfied with this answer.
Yeah, me too.
I would think they'd find the guy who like was the first to use it in print or whatever.
Yeah.
Do better, quiz book. Somebody used those terms for the first time, and maybe that was their rationale, but...
Yeah, I think we should dig into this further, Bear and Bull.
That sounds like a really boring homework assignment, but okay.
Okay, why does the word nepotism, or the practice of favoring relatives with jobs, have an ecclesiastical origin?
There must be a I don't know. It's from Leviticus. No.
Nepotism derives from the practice of early popes, who often conferred special favors and ecclesiastical offices upon their nephews, Latin for nepots.
Oh. Well, that makes sense. You didn't have children because you're celibate.
Yeah. And actually, like, I think that the Medici family, like, had a couple of people that tangentially were popes.
That was Medici Playbook 101, is like get all mobbed up in the church. And,
oh, yeah.
Yeah,
the Medicis are where it's at. They knew what's up.
The Elon Musk of their day, man. They started the department of nepotism.
Yeah. What was the origin of the sign of the 3 gold balls over pawn shops? What?
Oh.
I didn't even know there were 3 gold
Yeah,
balls
that's the
over
standard
pawn shops.
symbol is, yeah.
It is?
I'm going to just guess it was a scale to weigh gold and see its value when people wanted to
I have a
trade
feeling that your backup guess was going to be that it was the coat of arms for the Medicis.
Get the hell out!
Really spanker. Yeah. For real.
You read ahead. That's why you brought up the Medicis.
No, I didn't. I did not. No. I didn't. Like, I wouldn't have known that. I didn't even know they had 3.
No,
anyway.
That is not the coat of arms of the Medicis.
Can you describe the South Sea bubble?
Yeah, I will in a second. Okay, but first we're going to show you the coat of arms of the Medicis, and you tell me if this looks like the pawn shop symbol, which I will pull up separately. First of all, there are 6 circles in the coat of arms of the Medicis, right? In that shape. Now,
yeah. And they're red from what I can see.
Yeah, and one is blue with the fleur-de-lis on it, right? So now I will show you the standard symbol for pawn shops. We have various versions of this on this page, but now, is that impossible they came from the same source? Yeah, not impossible.
I can kind of see it.
Shut up, Kalyn. You're so stupid.
You're so stupid.
Second of all, the Medicis don't need to pawn any goddamn thing, okay? They're the ones putting the Barcalanders out on the curb, okay? For the homeless guys to take under. They're like, first of all, we're going to give our jobs to our nephews, and then we're going to put recliners out on the curb for homeless guys.
Well, maybe. You're sounding like you're on the wrong side of the rich dad, poor dad thing. Like, shouldn't you be, like, going to pick up the Barca loungers and, like, yeah, anyway.
It depends. That's probably the Dave Ramsey solution, but, I mean, Ramit.
Oh, 100%.
Ramit is not going and picking up used Barca loungers, I don't think, at least once he's living his rich life, you know? So, what do you envision in your rich life? Oh, I envision driving around town and
dumpster diving, and yeah.
Well, how will you feel about money in your perfect life? Well, I'll feel like I'm really happy from picking up scrap furniture on the curb.
The South Sea bubble. Can you describe the South Sea bubble?
Okay, so I remember that this is one of the great bubbles, you know, along the lines of the tulip bubble. It's English. It involved investing in trade routes.
Yeah. You're really close. So it's a popular name in England for the speculation in the South Sea Company, which was the early part of the 18th century and had a monopoly on British trades with the islands of the South Sea in South America. Yeah. It failed disastrously in 1720.
Yeah, and I can't remember. There's something sort of famous. I can't remember, like Isaac Newton or something. Like lost a ton of money in the South Sea bubble, and that's why he went into science instead of, I don't know, being a Medici nephew or something. I don't know.
Yeah, man, interesting.
Don't declare it interesting yet, because I made all that stuff up. But this is a classic Kalyn story where it was like somebody did something kind of like this, and you know, I don't remember the details specifically,
and, like,
but
I think that it like went down like this, or maybe I'm combining this with another story, but yeah, not sure. Yeah, exactly. I love those stories. The term A1 for first rate was originally used in what type of business?
Meat.
In insurance business, particularly at Lloyd's of London, where condition of the ship was so designated, the letters standing for its hull and the number on it for its equipment. So
wow.
Yeah.
And now it's a steak sauce. So
that's right.
This is how things happen.
Delicious.
It is delicious. For a long time, I liked it better than steak itself. I would also put it on like everything because mom's standard dinner is like a piece of meat pan fried with no flavor on it, something green that you don't want to eat, and a starch like a potato.
Yeah. Yeah, every time I do any sort of cooking there, I won't use my normal level of garlic, but they would just be so anxious about how I've ruined all of the food. I mean, every time, they're like, "Oh, did they say for that much garlic?" I'm like, "Listen,
well,
you're gonna make it through this meal, I promise." And like, I've never once heard anybody in this family complain about things being too garlicky at restaurants, at my house, anytime ever. It's never happened, as far as I can tell. And I always think like if I'm cooking something, like I want my kitchen to smell like super delicious, like cut up an onion, throw some garlic in a pan, just like let that get going, and like. Voila.
Then you throw that shit out and you cook whatever you're going to cook. You're like, I'm making a pie here.
Yeah. You just reminded me of like, I had to get preserved lemons for a dish that I made, this like Moroccan dish.
Yeah.
You had whole preserved lemons. Like, I was like, where the fuck am I going to find? Like, it took me forever to find it. And then once I did, I was like, I don't know why these aren't in everything. It's so good. But
I feel like that's half the recipes we do. We're like, hey, let's make tikka masala, and it's like, okay, first ingredient, something you've never heard of. And like,
Indian food is like,
where would you even find this?
Like,
I mean, Indian store is the obvious answer, but it's like I'm not gonna walk into the Indian store and be like, where's the garam masala?
right. Like, definitely like mispronounced. Like,
I can't embarrass myself like that. They would throw me out of that store. They would never sell me the proper spices.
Yeah. Man, you reminded me when you were talking about A1, like, so I got this question the other day. Which 3 ingredients are chiefly responsible for the distinctive flavor of Worcestershire sauce?
I bet one is like
and I was
raisins or plums or something, I'm sure. Vinegar.
Okay. So your answer was similar to mine so far.
Salt, vinegar, and plums. I don't know.
Anchovies, soy, and tamarind.
Nice. Well, tamarind does sound...
Okay.
Tamarind tastes a lot like... it's sweet anyway.
It's sweet, yeah. And anchovies are salty.
You ever use that? You use that a lot, and then the parents are like, does it really call for this much Worcestershire sauce?
Every time I do anything that I don't use recipes. And every time I do it, like, Dad's like, wow, that seems like a lot. I'm like... it's like oregano or whatever. Like, it's not that much. It's like I added maybe like a teaspoon and a half instead of a teaspoon.
They like their food very plain.
Well, they also like to, criticize me at any opportunity. Like, I do not make the decisions that they would make, and so,
No, you do not.
Good.
That we've demonstrated in spades. Yeah. Yes. Anyway.
Yes. A salary was originally an allowance given to Roman soldiers to buy what?
Well, I'm sure the root word is the key here. Salmon. They bought salmon with it. Fish.
Salt.
Ah!
I know. You were right on it. You were right. You're very good. I was like, oh, he's gonna get it.
I meant salted salmon, Kalyn. I should have said Worcestershire salt.
Salmon?
Anchovies.
Special drawings rights are a type of international monetary reserve established by which agency?
It's probably the International Monetary Fund or something that was created in Bretton Woods.
You are exactly right. The International Monetary Fund, a specialized agency of the United Nations. Man, good job.
It's the only agency I could come up with that.
I would never have come up with that.
Get out of here. This is why I went to Harvard. That's what happened.
I know. I see.
People use that all the time. I know which street to turn on or something, and they're like, that's why you went to Harvard. Like, okay.
Oh, yeah. I know. I mean, people do that with me with NYU, so I can only imagine with you and Harvard. I mean, people are like, wow, that big brain, NYU. And I'm like,
have we met?
Whatever. I'm like... I mean, yeah, it's like, look how smart I am. Like, because I remembered that Adams was the second president of the United States. Like, they're like, dang, NYU. And I'm like, what? Like, okay.
There's a non-trivial portion of the United States who can't name the current president, much less John Adams, the second president.
Joe Byron.
Well, yeah, freaking Jay Leno used to do the man on the street, and they'd show pictures of the president, and people are like, oh, I don't know. Is he is he a rock star or something? And you're like, no, that is George W. Bush, President of the United States. So. All right. Well, Kalyn, no time for segments this week. We're going to have to save the gummy bear, scam of the week, podcast of the week. I know this is why everyone tunes in. So this is going to be cliffhanger deluxe, but
I will say that the scam of the week for next week is still going to be about Nexium, but like but I'm going to go back further than that. So there's lead up to
All right, a little enticement there for all of you podcast listeners. Wait till you hear the history quiz we have in store for you next week. Back.
Next week we can do capitals. Which
capital in Norway is Oslo. Woo, big brain.
Fun book.
Woo.
Whoa, man! Here's one we would do badly on the mythology quiz. Which god is depicted playing a syrinx, or a shepherd's pipe? Syrinx. I don't even know. I've never heard.
If you want to know the answer to that question, tune in next week. Cue the music. This has been an episode of Robert and Kalyn Get Rich, where we investigate goddesses and panpipes and everything else.
And BMI and everything in between.
Everything important and more commonly unimportant under the sun. We are a production of Get Rich Media. Listen, if you are really wicked into quizzes about the root origins of words in just whatever.
We're fun. Listen to us.
Yeah, we're often fun and often. We've had a lot of terrible outros, but we might just have to trim this one down. Yeah. I'm Robert K. This is Kalyn. Listen, whatever it is we might talk about, please do us a favor. Click the like button, the subscribe button. Just smash it.
Give us 5 stars.
5 stars. Give us that good old review. Write a review if you would. And most important amongst all the rest, please send us to your friends and relatives to listen to or watch. Yep. Send us an email, robertandkalyngetrich@gmail.com. We have a t-shirt waiting for you if you send us an email.
And if you send a comment, we promise we will read it. But you should try to be creative if you're going to be mean.
Yeah, yes. If you're mean just out of spite, that's not going to get you on air. So, you dummies.
Yeah, fuck off.
Fuck off. All right. With that, we usually say bye, but this week we're going to say fuck off.